Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to Geek Grills, a podcast about geeky things hosted by women. I'm September, also known as 9 of 12, and I'm here with my co-host, the Jen.
Hello.
And Chris.
Hello.
So, girls, what have you been up to?
Oh my god, so much Overwatch. Like, seriously, so much Overwatch. And I start playing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll play a couple rounds. And then it's like half hours later, and I'm like,
10 hours later.
Where did the time go? Yeah, so I'm definitely having a lot of fun with it, just because it's so easy to just get a group together or jump into a group. There's always somebody I know playing, which is really great. So that's been fun. This last week also, over the weekend, we had Heroes of the Storm, had all of the heroes free. So you could try them all. So I got to play all the heroes I've never really had a chance to play that I wanted to try. So that was cool. I learned that I'm not a terrible Illidan like I thought I would be. And then I learned that heroes that I thought were super easy and I was going to be good at are, 1, not so easy, and 2, I'm terrible at them. But that's okay. We're learning important.
But that's excellent, and I think that's exactly what giving them all to for a weekend was for.
Well, it was nice.
I hate
I could not wait
my weekend was so busy that I found out they were all free on Monday. Listen to someone else's podcast. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I missed.
I know. I tried to tell people, I was like, play, everything's free. I did like that. It gave me a chance to figure out which heroes I want to buy. So that was definitely a smart decision on Blizzard's part, because now I'm like, okay, I need to buy this one, this one, and this one, and I only have 14,000 gold. I guess I get paid on Friday, and I will be paying some real money for heroes.
And it was a good opportunity to get a bunch of free gold. I mean, you go in and go to 5 and go to 5 and go to 5, right?
Yeah, exactly. I definitely rocked out as many as I could, 5. Also so that I could play them in Hero League later. So that was definitely important to have them available. And then, of course, on Sunday, we had the epic Game of Thrones finale. No spoilers. I will not say anything except for this season was amazing, and I have been discussing it with everybody who's seen it so that I can talk about it as much as possible, and I won't say anything else because there's so many things I want to say, but it was good.
Okay, so don't do that, but can you drop in a little info, details on the Overwatch? We both just mentioned get them to 5, and maybe detail what that means for people who aren't playing Overwatch, or who play casually, and what
heroes,
that gets you.
Yes, it is. So Heroes of the Storm.
Or Heroes of the Storm,
it's a MOBA-ish game. It's a hero battle brawler. And so each hero that you play, you level up the hero the more you play that hero. So in order to play that hero in Hero League, which is ranked play, you do need to get them up to level 5 to make them accessible even if you own them. So what's really cool is Blizzard has it set up where as you play with a hero and you level up that hero, you get gold at level 5 and also I think also at level 10, 15. And it's nice because it just helps you build your gold base, which you can use gold if you're a free-to-play player. You can actually use your gold to buy any of your heroes. You don't have to actually spend any real money at all, which is, again, really nice and awesome on Blizzard's part.
And I've never spent any real money on that game. Every week there are different free-to-play heroes, and I play with them and get some gold and then buy heroes with gold. I wait till they drop in price. So, I mean, this is a great entry-level, try out different things, and they have different types available every week.
It's fun.
So, I mean, yeah, I didn't do MOBAs, and
it's
this
much
has been
better.
A fantastic game even for my
I tell people
ass.
that were like, oh, League was terrible, or it's so tough. Yeah, there's some jerks in Heroes too, but I definitely find that the propensity for the a-holes is much lower in Heroes than it is in League. And the games are shorter, so you don't have to spend like 45 minutes with people that you hate from the first 2 minutes. That's the nice thing about Heroes, is it's definitely a faster gameplay, which I think that's nice. So if you get a crappy team, you're like, all right, good, we're done soon. As opposed to League of Legends, where you could end up in a game for like an hour and everybody's telling you that you should have been aborted because you didn't get a creep kill, and it's like the worst. I really do not have fun playing that game because of it.
Yeah.
I'm
BG
adding that to the
uninstall.
glossary.
Yeah, and the reason why the heroes were all every single hero was free this weekend was because
Oh
of
yeah,
the
that's right. There was a reason.
that had just happened.
Yeah, it's like event
Yeah, no.
stuff, right? To draw you also into watching other esports, which I know sounds
Yeah,
weird, but
watching
trust
heroes
me,
is actually
give
fun.
it a
I
go.
will say that, like, when it comes to esports, I do have to say that Heroes of the Storm, because it is such a quick game. Oh, really? I'm sorry, guys.
Hello there.
He has something to say.
Look, we have a mascot.
He just wants to be part of the conversation, apparently, and also agrees that esports, watching Heroes of the Storm, is really entertaining compared to other esports. There's definitely some games, like watching WoW Arena. Like, for example, Arena in WoW, those things last like 30 seconds or like a minute. And unless you play every class in WoW in a super detailed way, I'm sorry, just in my opinion, it's not that entertaining to watch. But Heroes is, even if you don't know, even if you're not great at the game and have only played a couple times, it's still really entertaining. It's so easy to follow too. Like, I feel like it's very easy to follow. So it's definitely a good esports game. So I've been actually really enjoying everything that's been on, like with the championships and each. Of course, I'm confused because it's like we have the championships and then we have like the more championships. I mean,
that's
I
a
know,
whole
seriously.
nother
I'm like,
topic about the
we've got the
industry.
championships.
That maybe
Yeah,
we
probably
should
It's
do
so
a
confusing.
show on.
I don't understand. So somebody needs to like help make me a chart for championships we're doing now, because I feel like it's always something. All right, so that's been my week.
Okay, taking notes. We should do a whole thing on esports, absolutely, because I think that's valuable to the audience as it emerges. I got my local bar to put freaking Heroes of the Dorm on the TV, and it was flying in a sports bar. So this is happening, and helping people to understand it can be of great value. It was only a couple years ago at BlizzCon where I got a virtual ticket and watched StarCraft matches, and I got it. I mean, that's when I got it. I didn't even watch streamers before then. I was like, looking at my kids going, what are you doing? Like, you're watching people play video games? Like, why aren't you playing the game? And I was watching here StarCraft, and I don't even play StarCraft, but the strategies and them, and seeing people working around and doing something crazy to throw them off. And I was like, it was like watching hockey again, or watching, football and stuff that I'm used to be into anyway. And before I had boys who hate it, which is weird. And that got me into like, this is a legitimate thing to just be a fan of and watch teams. And I think we can help usher that in for everyone else. So, Chris.
But yes, Chris, let's talk about what you did this week.
Yeah,
And
right?
then I ended up failing
No,
you.
you didn't fail me.
No.
We'll talk about
oh
it
my
some other
God.
time.
First off, apparently I already knew this, but I'm really bad at math. 6 + 5 is not 10, like I said in last episode. And then I for the tournament, the Hearthstone tournament that Dill's put on last weekend, I severely misunderstood the rules. I was thinking it was only classic and basic cards, but all of them. It wasn't until it was clarified, and I wasn't the only one that had this issue,
it was confusing.
so I don't feel that bad. But it was basic cards and common cards, so any cards with a white gem, no rares, no epics, no legendaries, unless they came from a card that had something like Inspire on it, which is a what do you call those? It's a thing that happens
A mechanic?
when you play a card in
mechanic.
Hearthstone. Yeah, a mechanic.
Mechanic,
Thank
yeah.
you. But yeah. But anyway, so I made the top 4 players in that Pauper tourney.
Yay!
Sweet! Grills represent.
Yes, it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
really actually quite fun. So, this is something that like harkens back to Magic, the Gathering, by the way, the Pauper tournament thing. I just want to mention, it was really fun to do that style of a tournament. It was, so again, like Lunescent said, it was, no gems or white gems only. So, no rares, no epics, no legendaries. And this is something that people used to do with Magic the Gathering. I always heard it as peasant tourneys, but I guess pauper tourneys is what They talk about it, I guess was what Dills said it was in Magic when he played it, but I always
Yeah,
knew it as peasant tournaments, which is
that's
weird.
what I
So,
see.
but yeah, it was super fun. I did terrible. I clearly need to have my Dr. Boom in order to succeed at Hearthstone. And you know what? That's just how it is. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Good job, Lunessa.
And I made it with Priest. I was the only one that brought Priest. So
Yeah,
that
her
was
deck
fun.
was
Oh,
rough.
that's brilliant.
I
love
only got
that.
one against her.
Our buddy Trebizzle is trying desperately, by the way, it's still on stream, to make it to Legend with Priest.
Right now? Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, he's been at it like this whole season. He's alternately incredibly frustrated and incredibly determined.
That's
I guess
'cause
it depends on how much he's had to drink.
Priest is the worst class right now.
Oh, that's kind of always. But I always love
No,
Priest
not
too.
always.
Oh.
Death Rattle Priest was awesome. When Undertaker was good, it was good.
And then they nerfed Undertaker, so that was brief. That wasn't even a season.
True. Well, no, it was there for a while.
I did really well with Dragon Priest for a while. Like the highest I've ever gotten isn't very
No
high,
Priest
but
for
it
me.
was with Dragon Priest.
And I love playing Priest for funsies with like silly Priest decks, but Priest and I don't know. I just don't. It's slow, I guess. But then again, it wasn't slow. So maybe you just have cracked the code on Priest. So I'm gonna have to get you to sit down with me and help me make a Priest deck that I don't hate, because I think yours played much faster than it has anytime I try to make a Priest deck. But your deck was
Yeah,
awesome.
Priest takes a
Just
while to
like
get
that.
used
It
to
was
when
really
you go from healing damage to dealing damage, and lots of mistakes were made when I was learning. So that's one of the fun things about Priest is you can take your healing damage and turn it into dealing damage to anything on the board. So it makes it like the Hero Priest class spell an even better hunter spell. So that's nice, or a mage spell, depending on how you want to look at it. But
I'm going to have to look at your deck and get the hang of that, because I've never gotten the hang of, since they added that Shadow Priest feature. My first deck I ever named was a Priest deck, and it was kind of before I really knew Dills much, and it's around the same time. The first deck I ever named was called Stop Hitting Yourself. Because that's what I was doing with Priest. And then the next thing I know, Dill's talking about the milkshake deck. And I went and I looked. I was like, that's exactly the thing I am doing. Because my kids thought it was funny. They're like, what do you mean stop hitting yourself? I'm like, well, you know that bit, right? Well, here's what I'm doing with the deck. And I taught it to them. And then Dill's got his milkshake deck.
And by the way,
he's famous. So that got famous. But yeah, it's the same kind of like, because you can steal cards from the other person and then hit them with it. And I just thought that was freaking hilarious. And a Priest? Really?
Yeah.
It's a little twisted.
And then
think about
I just wish my only
the lore in
complaint
there,
about
right?
Priest and Hearthstone is that maybe I'd be more inclined to play Hearthstone as a Priest if I could be somebody other than puny, whiny Anduin Wren. And I'm sorry to all the Alliance people that are like, oh, but he stood up to Garage Hellscream and got his ass kicked and survived and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I don't need to hear it. He's a whiny little, like, pissant kid. And I know he's like an adult manish now in Warlords of Draenor, but I need to play somebody else as a Priest. So
actually, we haven't seen shit.
Oh no, that's what I meant. In Pandaria, he was like a little bit older,
Draenor, but in Pandaria, yeah, in Pandaria he really became
but
like
he's
key
still
and
always
started to
gonna
step
be
into a leadership role and
like. And if you read the book at all, too, I mean, obviously it came up in the book too. By the way, this is where I'm just gonna nerd out on some random WoW lord for a second. But if you read the WoW novels, and oh, gosh, I love Golding, so good. But anyway, when she wrote about Anduin Wren, and in that novel, I started to be like, okay, he's not quite so bad, but still, at the end of the day, come on, can I have another Priest? Like, I'm not asking for much. Just give me one other Priest. We have an alternate Paladin, we have an alternate Mage, we have 2 alternate Mages, we have an alternate Warrior. We don't really need an alternate Warlock. If you're playing Warlock, you should feel dirty and play Gul'dan. That's how you should feel. But give me another Priest. Like, I don't think I'm asking for too much. Oh, Hunter. We have a different Hunter too. And again, lots of options, but Priest, sorry, you're stuck with whiny Anduin Wren. And then of course, well, I guess with Druid you are stuck with Malfurion. But he's not so bad. Malfurion's not the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm really excited for the day where there's going to be a female option for each character, each of the 9 characters in Hearthstone, because I want an all-female team. Just because, no,
Oh, there you go.
not for
Yeah.
any mean reasons. I like female characters.
I strangely didn't even think about that way. I don't. Huh. Yeah. But I mean, they just kind of should, right? Have
Yes, just
because there are
because I
plenty of
want-
choices, right? And what
And
the
Medivh.
opposite of Jaina, we've got Khadgar
And Khadgar,
And Medivh, yeah.
Leandra.
or
Leander.
Medivh, and we've got who's the paladin?
Me
We
too.
have
Oh yeah.
Leandra, who I
like
use.
her emo.
I did get her. Love that. Oh, and to step back a second, Jen briefly was in the lore. The
Christy-
author she was mentioning was
okay, I have to look it up, 'cause
is
I
it
always-
Christine or
I always
Christy
say
Golden?
her name wrong.
Yeah, she has
Yeah.
written
CHRISTINE.
some just really fantastic stand on their own novels. If you like fantasy novels, you're not even into World of Warcraft. There are several good authors that have taken on that lore, and they are canon. And it's Christine Golden, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it is. It is
And
Golden.
hers
is it
are
Golden?
really
Why do I
great.
think it's
I've
Golden?
read.
I always do that.
couple
Yeah,
of
it's Christy. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Loon. It's Christy
Yeah.
Golden, and she wrote Star Trek novels, Star Wars novels, and then with the World of Warcraft novels, she writes every other novel with what's his name, and I don't remember what's his name because I don't like his novels as much as hers. But the way she wrote for the most recent, not the most recent anymore, but for War Crimes from 2014 was the Pandaria one. Oh, I know she did.
And was War of the
I don't know if
Ancients
she did War of the
hers?
Ancients. She did
'Cause
Tides
that
of
one
War,
was really good.
which was the Jaina Prodmore one. Oh yeah, and then she also did. She
Mhm,
also
that was
did
that was
Rise of the Horde, which was
fantastic.
amazing. She did Arthas, Rise of the Lich King, which was amazing.
And she was wrapped up in the writing
she's
of
really
the
good.
thing I mentioned last week,
Oh,
that
I love her.
Warcraft
I love her.
Chronicles.
Like the way she writes.
She's one of the
Oh,
authors in
God,
there
it's
as
so
well.
good. I like her character. She just makes the characters that I've loved come alive in a way that I feel bad because the other author that she alternates with, I'm like, you're all right. I mean, they're not bad. They're just not as good as hers. But anyway, all right, I'm done oohing all of that. What else have you been up to, Loon? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, we haven't got through her yet.
I'm seriously thinking about getting started with Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. Just because I kind of want to revisit the Final Fantasy world. It's been a while, and I really like it. However, it is an MMO, so that means it is going to take up a lot of time, and maybe I shouldn't dive deep into an MMO right now. Probably not. But something that I would like to talk in the Greek grapevine. If you guys would like.
We got
to.
a Delta symbol. Yeah, why not? We'll put some lambdas in there.
Omegas, sure. Yeah, because of the 2016 Podcast Award scandals, I decided to up my Patreon support for the morning stream. I was able to watch it live today, and some things were going on and some things were talked about. And so I'm thinking instead of getting into an MMO, I'll do that instead for now. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Hooray.
That's really brilliant. I love that. That's fantastic.
This community, I feel like it's not just a community.
This community
There's
is all really good at
there's
supporting each other.
The Frog Fans community, the Diamond Club community, the Dills Pants community. There's the Diamond Group. What is the Diamond Group Pants Party? Plays
Diamond Group.
a move.
Well, yeah, and I have
Oh,
musicians I support.
Isn't it nice to feel
as well through Kickstarter, through
you can
Patreon.
vote
I mean,
on the things that you love with money? I love that. I love being able to be
as a community.
I don't
mean,
have to just
it's
put up
the,
with whatever TV executive think that I want to watch.
Yes,
I can just directly put my money towards the things that I want to enjoy directly without any.
God bless Amanda Palmer. I'm gonna say that. If you haven't read it, read The Art of Asking. That whole new model of art supporting itself, and she's in music and art, and it has bled out and influenced so many people to, take it into your hands and be able to do what you love and give it a go. And bless the internet.
Well, and yeah, the GoFundMe for the survivors for the incident in Orlando raised over $5 million in just 4 days, and that was the last time I checked.
Oh, yeah. It's brilliant. I mean, but it's an emergency and technology. Holy cow, the stuff on Kickstarter. And there was like some kind of, there's a video game Rob and I support. We're still waiting for it to come out, where it's a video game, but it's based around, it's called Codemancer, and it integrates different UI manipulation coding programs to teach kids coding languages, but in a video game format.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for my copy still. We didn't have the upfront money at the time. I wanted to go ahead and just drop a couple $100 and get a copy that was a license for my kid's school.
Oh, cool.
But, hopefully that will happen. So, it's worth going if you haven't. Even if you got $1 or $2 or $5 and you just want to help change the world, this is the way you can do it through individual inventors and entrepreneurs.
Oh yeah, that
check
one
out
too.
Patreon and
there's
GoFundMe
so many. You know what?
and
There's so many
Kickstarter
ways
and
now.
what's the one that's for schools and Indiegogo? Yeah, what's the name of it? Where you can just like find a local school and see a teacher who's asking for calculators and throw money at it. I mean, it's a more personal way to, instead of just voting with your dollars with your groceries,
or on an overpriced drink from
go help somebody who needs that $1 you were going to spend
that you don't want, and then
candy
afterwards
bar.
you immediately regret.
Yes. Like all of the students at the campus that I work at, they buy a $700 latte, take one sip, and then leave it for me to pick up for them to throw away. Yes, because money is no issue for college students, apparently. Sorry. It's true. That was one thing that Abby from Diary of a Trans Woman said when we were talking podcasts in Salt Lake when we went to the Warcraft movie Frog Pants thing. She said that I was doing, even though I'm not able to give a ton of money every month, I give at least $2 per every 10, 15, like the handful of podcasts that I support. She says that is doing more than what 80%, 90% of what most podcast listeners do. And it dramatically helps out, even if it's just a couple bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a bunch of money. I mean, I had $5.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm going to give $5 to Scott, and he does 100 things I like, right? So I ended up splitting it up. So like every month, Frog Pants in general, which I figure covers all those other things, gets $250, and Hypothetical Help gets $250.
Basically,
because I know there's a different pot, and they have a goal for keeping it on the air.
Name drop every time, you should be, because they're all so good. And then you'll have to get like me, where sometimes I have to listen to episodes at 1 1/4 time or 1.5 time, because otherwise I can't get through them all. They're so good. Oh,
Jen, you're roboting.
You are roboting, man. You're a mess.
Really? I hate my life right now. We're gonna have to just cut this section out. And Carol, is that better?
Nope.
We can make everybody a robot.
No, let's not make everybody a robot.
That would be weird. So what I have been up to is way too much real life stuff, and I haven't played very many games. And I'm sorry, and I missed you, and I wanted to, and I want to say it was really important, but that's subjective. I did go to a Pride event, and it was not as well attended as I would have liked from all the years I have gone in this small town. And I hope it wasn't because people are afraid, but I went and I felt better for going. We did, and then what else? What was the other exhausting thing? On Sunday.
That cookout?
Oh, yeah. Okay, and I'm going to take a moment here to go ahead and plug someone's GoFundMe because I love her so much. My friend Janice Covington Allison was a delegate to the DNC in 2012 here in Charlotte, and she's from here, and I know her. And she is a transgender woman and an activist who has been doing it, all of her life. She's a war veteran, for goodness sake, and has done all that fighting in the street and for all the change we have today. And she wasn't elected to be a delegate this time to Philadelphia, but she was asked by the DNC to serve on the Credentials Committee. This is a financial burden for her. She is retired recently. She has diabetes and she has, old war injuries, and it's hard. But given the current state of affairs in North Carolina with HB2, she felt like she really needed to go and needed to represent. And she started a GoFundMe, and I sort of prompted her to do that and to forego her shame because she deserves people's support. She started a GoFundMe, and she has been getting feedback from organizations and people saying, that's soliciting, and how dare you, and aren't you embarrassed to beg? And I think that's absurd and ridiculous. So there was a cookout on Sunday that she has been having for years and years and years that she pays for. She buys all the food and just feeds anyone in the community who doesn't have somewhere to go and wants to go and eat and meet other people in a safe space. Right. And she was having this cookout. So I had a bake sale. That's why I dropped out of the tournament, the Hearthstone tournament. And we baked brownies and macaroons and ginger snaps, and I managed to raise $151 to help her out with her trip adjacent to the cookout. But she does have a GoFundMe. You can find it. Her name is Janice Covington Allison. I think it's worthwhile. So I was doing that, so I didn't game very much. My gaming news is my son, I did get him so hooked on the Overwatch that I ostensibly bought for him for his birthday on the Xbox. And today he managed to trade enough, I don't know, whatever those league points are again. Like, he traded a bunch of his online gaming stuff with other friends, and someone gave him Overwatch on his PC.
Nice.
So he's jumped in full force on that now. So I get, the Xbox One all to myself.
I finally opened my collector's edition. It was pretty. The box was pretty. But then I'm going to be sending the Xbox One copy to my brother. But I have
giving away the
my
big
Soldier
thing.
76, and he's also pretty. And the box is pretty.
Hey, Sunday night I rested, and we had D&D, and unfortunately, we're down to a couple players. And my husband did really well he's the dungeon master, and we made do and played people as NPCs, and oh my god, Chris, remind me to tell you how he played you.
Is this D&D drama?
It's my fault. I overslept, so.
Oh, how he played you. I get it now. He proxied. He played her as a proxy. I was like, damn, you got played?
He did. He logged in.
What does that mean?
No, he logged in 2 different computers so he could also log in as her, so we would have at least one more PC because only 2 of us showed up.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm sorry. I overslept.
Oh, and that's fine, and we know that. We know you have your scheduling stuff, and I at least hope you would tell us go to hell if you were quitting. So.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, and I don't.
It was like, we'll just play you, and you got leveled, so that's good. And you killed stuff.
Yay.
We were able to strategize together, because you were theoretically here. But there was a thing where it was like harvesting antler horns, and he's got this idea that your character is a little pervy. Because of some stuff you've said, and he did this little and he was trying to do a girl's voice, which is hilarious, and he was like, ooh, you can make these little things, and you carve them, and you stick them in, oh, never mind. I'm like, holy crap, dude, I'm telling.
that works because, she was alone by herself in the wilderness for forever.
Oh my god.
Girls gotta make do.
Right?
I had a girl at work today who showed up to lunch with and she was making a salad for lunch and she brought all the components and she had a cucumber and I was like, that's a really nice looking cucumber.
A whole
Because
cucumber?
It was because she was gonna cut it up, but it was, and she was like, oh, I got.
She brought a knife?
Well, we have knives in our kitchen at our work. A lot of people we do this where we make our salads there, but she brought the whole cucumber and it was a really nice looking cucumber. So I made a comment. I was like, that's a nice looking cucumber. And then there's a table of people I was gonna say snorkeling. That's not the word I'm trying to think of. Snickering, yeah. Snorkeling. They were snorkeling in the corner of the story is getting just completely off the rails. So they're
Cubicle
snickering.
sharks.
And I'm like, what is going... I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And then of course, I don't realize that till afterwards, but then after I get done getting what I'm getting my coffee. And she goes, yeah, what the funny thing is that I bought this one and then one that was even bigger. She's like, I just couldn't say no. It was such a nice looking cucumber. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is just worse. This is just getting worse and worse and worse. But yes, I have a terrible... I live in my mind's
Okay, until this before this becomes an entirely different podcast, let's jump into the Geek Grapevine. Okay, so what are we doing? EA Sports.
We can take that one.
You do that.
So, if it's the Electronic Arts, I believe this is about Electronic Arts in esports, right? Yes. I do.
You put the link there, man. Now I gotta
track of
open
things.
it.
No, I've got it open.
Supervise.
I mean,
and
that's
shit.
no, I'm just kidding.
Electronic Arts gets into esports with $1 million Madden
I think that says $1
Championship.
million Madden Championship. You said $1
Isn't that what
million. I said? With a $1 Madden
Well,
Championship.
if you look at the headline, it says $1
hyphen
dash,
I agree.
and then they put million on the
I
next
agree.
line.
It
It's
is
not
confusing. I agree. I see where it comes from. But anyway, so what I thought was interesting about this, the reason I pulled this one is because I just think it's interesting to watch other gaming companies trying to capture the esports community, which I find really, really interesting. So especially because, Blizzard had Heroes of the Storm with the Heroes of the Dorm was actually on ESPN. And of course, there was nothing more humorous than trying to watch ESPN anchors who don't normally talk about gaming things try to keep a straight face while announcing the Heroes of the Dorm items, which absolutely was worth it to me. But anyway, so Electronics is going to award $1 million over the next year to top players of Madden NFL. So I definitely thought this was interesting because Madden is definitely a game that's been around for a long time. So, for example, this is Madden NFL 17. Yeah, a lot of Madden, guys. So I just think it's, again, interesting. Another company try to come in because, again, Activision Blizzard has kind of been the only one that's really, I think, capitalized on the esports in a more mainstream way. I mean, I think Riot has done some things too with League, but I don't think any of them have really made it as mainstream as Activision Blizzard has with what they've done with Heroes of the Dorm and some of the other things. So I just thought that was really interesting. I'm interested to see how they handle it. Also, I'm just a little, I don't know how entertaining it is to watch. So I know, kind of going back to what we were talking about, what makes a game worthy of esports. I don't know how much fun I would have watching Madden, but then again, I guess if people watch sports ball anyway, and then they're watching people play a video game sports ball.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I really like playing sports video games just because they're fun for me. I don't know if I could get into watching other people play because it's fun when you're playing because you're actively involved, but when you're not, kind of like watching golf. Sorry, golfing fans. It's just not a sport that I enjoy
because
watching.
Just to give an example, I was sitting with a friend of mine
a
couple days ago, and he had never really played Hearthstone to the concept, but I pulled up Twitch because Dills was streaming, and we were watching him play, and it was really fun to watch him kind of go over and he was trying to get to rank 4, and as he was playing, this friend of mine is trying to understand what's happening. He's like, well, why didn't he just play that card? And I'm kind of explaining it, and then he's watching. And after it was done, it was really exciting because it ended up being, he ended up playing the same opponent 2 games in a row, and both the games were like really epic. He lost the first one, and then he won the second one, and it was like they yogged, and then he yogged. By the way, these are Hearthstone cards, so if you don't know what a yogg is, that's kind of confusing. But it was just exciting, and for somebody who had never even played Hearthstone, he was like, wow, that was really fun. I can't believe he eked that out. So he could get it. And I think that when you're watching Madden, like, why not just watch football? I don't know. I guess it's kind of weird to me, sort of.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that whole meme where, like, people play fantasy
It's like the
football.
nerdiest
I'm
thing
like,
ever, by the way.
So, like,
People,
that's
and also
D&D
watch the
for
league.
jocks,
If you've never seen that show is hilarious.
I haven't, but I actually, back in high school, had a group of friends who were like, we were a bunch of theater nerds and stuff, and we would get together for the Super Bowl, but we would play fantasy baseball. Like, we had, that's how I learned to score baseball with proper sheets and strikes and scores, but it was rolling dice, and it was in picking teams and drafting, and we played fantasy baseball on paper while the game was going on, and then we would run over for commercials.
That is ridiculous.
And cheer for, like, Bud
this is
Light.
also coming from a person who turns every single political debate into a drinking game and has for years. And I just say that, like, the greatest gift to that was Sarah Palin and Joe Biden's vice presidential debate. That was by far the best.
Okay.
Yeah, buy the Contender.
All right, I have to buy the Contender. Can we?
I know, seriously, you should.
I
gosh,
don't
okay. So that's
I don't own the
what's
Contender.
up.
Holy
Yep,
crap.
EA is getting into the esports world, and I don't really know how I feel
Okay,
about it.
yay!
that's
So,
that.
well, I think it's interesting, and I would like to comment on that, but I think it will lead into what I think we have as a whole nother episode about esports that needs to happen, and I think there's an interesting transition that's going to happen with crossover, given stories I've heard about having sports people in the room and explaining the game to them, and that they are grasping it. So let's move into the next story. Chris, you want to tell us about the NASA nerd and the Nerf gun?
Mm-hmm. So a NASA engineer builds the world's largest Nerf gun, and it's awesome.
That is ridiculous.
The darts are made from plungers and pool noodles. That's how big the gun is.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
and the plungers actually work. Like, it actually sticks. There's a video on this site it's only a couple minutes long, and it's super fun to watch. So, former NASA engineer Mark Rober said he built a supersized Nerf toy mostly to survive in the workplace. People have been having Nerf dart wars at work. So in an effort to keep people from picking on him, he decided to create the world's largest functional Nerf gun. And it looks like a Nerf gun, only giant size. It's bigger than him as a person, and he's a decent sized guy. So regular Nerf darts, obviously too small, so he makes them out of plungers and pool noodles. And the gun is powered by a paintball canister capable of shooting 3,000 pounds per square inch. It's a little too powerful
to make a
for
plunger
his gun.
work. I mean, you need some force.
Yes. And so it's a little too powerful for Rober's needs, so he modified his gun so that each blast of air pressure that fills the gun can shoot off 5 shots before it needs a refill. So that entire canister is gone in 5 shots. And
So,
I believe the video
I
says
will
that
definitely include the link
darts
to
come
this.
out at about 45 miles per hour. Or 40 miles, yeah. And
pardon me when you said plungers, and I thought Delic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely going to include this. All the videos are
you
definitely
can put in
worth
your
watching.
office
This
to
is
protect you
absolutely
from your
amazing.
bullying coworkers.
It sticks. Oh my God, it sticks. Oh my
Yeah.
God, this is
Yes,
amazing.
it actually
I'm
sticks,
such a nerd.
and it can travel nearly 400 feet.
It's just giving me ideas. I work in a
Like
call
Craig
center.
Far.
No.
So I saw this. And I was
Yeah,
like,
don't show your boys or your husband.
Every child
because otherwise,
I will
you
not show
have-
my children this video.
And And at the
Right.
end of the video, he
Oh my gosh.
gives
Yeah,
a
don't
link,
show
I
that to your
believe,
boys
to
here.
a place where he shows you how you can make your own if you really want
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I
Thank you so
haven't
much for sharing.
finished
That
the
makes my day.
Forge and Crucible yet.
I will include a link to this for all of our listeners because
Sure.
That
it's
is
worth
brilliant.
watching.
Okay, so I know we haven't gotten to our main discussion topic, which is we plan to talk about some E3 news. But in the podcasting world, there was just a big exploding scandal about stupid, which I honestly, I completely expected and anticipated. I think some of us, well, we talked about the awards recently on our podcast and the top heading system, which, you know, we gave our props and here's how it works. It was not cheating, but yeah, it absolutely
So the
freaking
podcast awards
exploded.
are a popularity contest. The podcast awards team, they were like, hey, here are the people that were nominated, People's Choice. And they're like, hey, here's the shows for each category. Now, mind you, there are shows that aren't allowed to be in the categories because they're considered legacy shows because they won too much or something. And apparently that was a whole thing, which I mentioned at least briefly in the past. So anyway, Brian Ibbett, as kind of a joke because of this whole Brian's hat.
And Brian Ibbett actually had nothing to do with this.
Yes,
this
correct.
Site.
He had nothing to do with the site, but he did promote it on his shows and said like, hey, this is how you can get a list of who we're supporting. You should totally get out there and vote. It didn't auto vote. It didn't auto complete. It didn't do any of that. Yeah.
It was just a list.
So basically what happened is the podcast awards were like, okay, here's the winners. Oh, wait, just kidding. We found about this system that was being used, and though not illegal, was against the spirit of the awards. So all winners are on hold.
So we want the fans to choose, but when their fan bases talk to each other and say, please vote for these people because we all like them, and then you go check out each other's podcasts and go vote for them, that's not fair. I mean, I just...
Because there was a
basically,
list
yeah, and it wasn't an auto vote. It would be
It's
one
not
thing if it like automatically voted for you.
Right. It specifically,
Right.
it did not. You couldn't go there and check it and it would go vote for you. I mean, it can't, and on purpose. And I used it, but I went and I looked and I was like, oh, good. Because I knew that certain people were going to be nominated that had been disqualified in other categories, like Scott Johnson and, you know, and then, but he still had other shows that qualified due to a technicality despite their legacy rule that they did that I could vote for, that I did listen to. And I didn't just go and vote blindly every day for all of these podcasts. If I hadn't listened to them, I didn't. But it did remind me to like, and there was a whole category. If there was 2 or 3 I listened to, I could pick one. But the idea that it was a fan choice.
You can't get
and
mad
you
if
have
it's
to
just
verify your vote
popularity
in your own
contest,
personal
and then
email.
people
what
treat
did
it like
they
a
say?
popularity
And
contest.
that's how your vote gets counted.
I
I
mean,
think if
that's
they
ridiculous.
really wanted to shake up the system, maybe they should only allow one vote once and only once per email address. Maybe that would help. Instead of getting mad that somebody wrote down a list and he was trying to what really upset Scott Johnson and the Diamond Club members, beyond calling the Diamond Club Diamond Group, is that he was trying to call them cheaters. And they're not cheaters.
Oh yeah, like let me read what the website actually said afterwards. Like this is what was so annoying, is that this was actually what was posted on the front page of their website that day. Cheating exposed. This is on the very top of the podcast awards. Now their message says something else now. Like now it says 11th podcast awards winners announcement, blah, blah, blah. Also, we're going to talk about rebuilding and whatever, because this obviously didn't work. But what they had before was cheating exposed during awards ceremony. We are going to proceed with an investigation. All announced winners are on hold at this time. An illegal off-site voting system apparently was used. If your show is on this list, do not celebrate! http://hat.t2e2.eu.
It wasn't a bot.
it wasn't illegal, first of all, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, also the thing,
Which is obnoxious because they didn't do anything against the
yeah,
rules.
don't celebrate. If your show is on this list, don't celebrate. Like, it's ridiculous. Ugh. No, it's ridiculous.
Well,
The
and
whole
that they
thing
attack the
was
fans.
such a joke. So
Don't celebrate
I
yet.
definitely I hope that they do revamp, but I don't know if I'll even bother. Like, I've always participated, but I don't know
After
if I will
announcing
now.
winners.
Oh, they will.
I'm disappointed.
Earlier today, during live airing of the morning stream, Todd Cochran, the guy that was in charge of the thing, I believe, he posted on his Facebook or Twitter, something like that, that he is no longer going to be involved in the podcast awards. He's stepping out. Whatever money he raised for his GoFundMe, which I am now kind of regretting that I actually paid money into. He said he will go ahead and give that to whomever wants to take this project over, but he is no longer going to be involved.
You know, I'm sorry that it went this way. I don't blame. It's hard to blame the
reminds me of, like,
organizers
every time
because
there was
it
an
is
online
tricky.
vote for anything,
I mean,
4chan
if
would
you're
come
trying
and
to
ruin
do
it.
people's choice
I mean,
and
or make it more awesome.
you're doing it
depending on
online with a
opinion.
bunch of people who are technologically savvy.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
they just did that for the most recent, second Brexit poll.
And then
Depending
call people
whether you
cheaters.
agreed. But you can't make up the rules and then change the rules and then it goes badly again and you're like, yeah, and outright call them out for cheating when they weren't. It wasn't against the rules. Announce the winners and then decide, oh, maybe it's cheating. We're going to
Just
investigate.
because-
That part, the PR part, the social part was handled so poorly. Like, they needed to just suck it up, change the rules again for next year if they needed to, try to improve. And we talked about this before with, if you're going to call it legacy and you can't win again, because I think that a lot of these folks that won, all of them, because it's still a small enough crowd voting every day, that they knew there was only so many of them popular enough to win them all, that they would have stepped aside and said, all right, well, let us promote other people and let our other podcasts be eligible, and should have worked with the community to make it better.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
Instead of
if
doing
it didn't
this
work out, great,
and then
fix
accusing
it for
the
next
fans
time,
of
but suck it up
cheating
this
when
time,
that's
period. You announced winners,
not
those
what
are the
happened.
winners. Move on.
And taking it back after is
Right.
just tacky. Yeah, take responsibility. Although I'm going to give, it's public, so I feel like I can go ahead and say it, but I was so amused when Dills was streaming yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like,
basically,
apparently,
we won,
he
we lost
titled
it,
his stream.
but,
Apparently,
whatever.
we
We just
won
killed
an
the award
award
show. That's
and then
fine.
lost it.
Whatever.
And killed an
I love
award
it.
show. So we win.
Nice. And everybody's already calling for an exit. Like, everybody that was involved this year that got nominated, well, not nominated, but anybody in, like, the hat.t2.t2 system, they're just like, no, we're not going to do this next year. It's fine. If it's going to be this much of a deal,
Well, you have to pay
this
for
much
your
of a
award
big
anyway,
deal,
so
we're just
screw
not
it.
going to do
Might
it
as well
next
just,
year.
move on.
Right, but not after being called
What?
a cheater, which is hilarious.
I feel bad because it should exist.
Oh, well, yes, and they're...
I do like the idea. Call me
I
a
like
queen.
it
I
too.
love the idea of
And there
having
are
I liked
other
it because that's how
podcast
I
award
originally
systems
found out about some other shows.
out there.
Was through the
Yeah,
podcast awards.
that's
a
how I
couple
found out
years
about
ago.
the morning
Yeah.
stream, was from the 2015 podcast awards.
Oh, yeah. Well, mine was a couple
Well,
years
and the
ago.
top
yeah.
hat system led me to like, holy
Oh, don't
crap,
even get
now
me
I'm
started.
screwed.
It's
I've got like 8 other
Or
podcasts I
100.
want to fucking
Like I said,
add
I've
to
wanna
my
listen to
queue.
everybody on the
I'm
list.
1 1/4, 1 1/2 time now. I listen to Chipmunks for the ones that I'm not super jazzed about, because otherwise I don't have time to get through them all.
I
but
would totally
love them.
throw up.
I
I
wanna listen
can't.
to them all.
Yeah.
It's actually not as
weird.
bad as you
Except
think.
for
You
music.
get used to
Music
it.
is
The
weird.
1 1/4 is definitely not bad.
It actually
None of that for you,
the
then.
hairs on
None
the
of
back
that.
of my
Okay,
neck
we
go
should-
up. So
We should totally
I'm
start
trying.
talking about E3 because I could talk about this for another 20 minutes because I was so enraged about it.
Okay, but I mean, I'm a person who feels like I really need to talk about solutions.
I think the solution is
So
stop trying to monetize the podcast awards thing if you don't actually care about it. Did I say that out loud? Oops, I did.
Mm-hmm.
it's all right.
Yep.
That's what
That's
you're
what I was
for.
and fix it for next time. And like you said, take
Bitches get
freaking
shit done.
responsibility. Don't sit there and call everybody else cheaters. Take responsibility for what happened and understand that you need to fix it for next time. But you certainly don't go around calling people cheaters and say they're using an illegal system when they're working within the parameters of the rules that you set. You tell them, hey, rally your fan base. Get them to
I'm
vote for
sorry
you.
we were smarter
but just
than
kidding.
your
Don't do
rules.
that.
Not.
No, I'm sorry that we
Yep.
have a really awesome fan base that loves pretty
All
much
right.
everything that we put out.
Okay, so moving on our main discussion. Let's hit some E3 news while it's still relevant.
Totally. So much.
There's
Fun.
tons, and I am
my
sorry I added so much to the notes, but like I got the best Cliff Notes.
So I just want to start by saying that E3 this year, I think just as a very overall comment, is it was so focused on the gamers. It wasn't about industry. This E3 has always traditionally been an industry thing. So back when I worked for EA for a very short period of time, many, many moons ago, and I was playing Counter-Strike on a sponsored team many, many, many moons ago, E3 was an industry event. This was not industry focused. This was totally focused on the gamers getting exposing things that the players cared about, not the industry. So I just thought that overall was a really interesting. They've kind of danced around it in the past.
I'm curious
but this year
from your
they
point
really
of view.
went full on into it. This is about the games.
What makes you think it was different? Because I did not, I'll admit, read the article that you posted, but from the footage I watched, it was still really small, and I heard a lot about them planning to move in that direction because it shrunk so much because people didn't even show up with their booths as far as industry. But what did they change this year that makes you think they've already gone to a gamer focus?
It just looked so much more like a BlizzCon where they're showing off the games that you can play, or what's that other one? I'm trying to think of the other big video game one that's about players, and my brain is completely fizzling on it. But it just, it was all about showcasing these shows. It was about showing trailers for shows. It was about, I'm sorry, I keep saying shows. It was about showing trailers and showcasing these new games that were coming. And normally it's not about that. Normally it's so much more about the hardware. It's about the design platforms. It's about what we're doing from a technical standpoint. It wasn't technical conversations. These weren't hardware conversations. In fact, even when they were talking about consoles or new consoles / revamps of consoles, ? It wasn't about the technical specs. It was more just like, look at this shiny box. It was just a different feel.
Okay. So it wasn't so much about who was invited and who attended, but the focus was more hands-on, the way they approached presenting their products.
Exactly. And that's the way you present it to gamers when you're presenting it at a place that's more geared towards that. Like, for example, BlizzCon. What happens at BlizzCon? You get a chance to play Blizzard's new games. You get to get your hands on, try new maps, whatever. That's all part of it. That's kind of the feel that they had for this. You could try different games. They had, and that wasn't always how it used to be. PAX. Lunescence is right. PAX is exactly what I was thinking of. I love you. Thank you. Yes, PAX is what I was thinking of. It reminded me a lot more, reviewing all the footage and looking at the different things, it reminded me more of a PAX than it did of E3. So that was interesting to me. And I will say, that aside, so I just want to make sure I made that high level comment because I thought that was interesting. And I do think it reflects who works for these companies, but I feel like it's always nerds that work for these companies. It was always gamers who worked for these companies. I mean, if you're going to work there, you might as well be passionate about it.
Right.
I mean, that's just kind of how it is.
Well, and it's a new generation.
So that's true. That's definitely true.
Of developers who are coming up from gaming, and the industry has started to pull in people who are gamers.
Like, you can actually have a job in video games now. And that's like legitimate.
So it's a marketing approach toward a different generation of programs.
The intention of working with video games. Oh yeah, exactly. There's specifically
there's college programs.
No,
and I understand now. The thing that I noticed in a news item I saw that I think E3, there was talk about it might not happen again. There was so many companies that didn't even go or put up a screen and didn't attend, and then EA set up their own thing. EA Play they had their own event. They rented space next door to that convention center and had an open to all
They had
players
to create the hype.
convention of their own.
Hype?
Hype? But I mean, E3 to begin with has its, whether it's a decline, and there's a lot of ideas about why it declined. There are so many more cons now and so many ways to announce your stuff and places to appear, and it became more competitive. It's not the industry standard anymore, and I think EA Play next door,
and I'll be honest, like
highlighted
EA has
that
always been a big
change
part
they
of
needed
E3.
to
I
make.
mean, EA has always attended E3, so that's kind of a big deal that they kind of were like, hey, instead of doing that, we're just going to have EA Play next door, by the way.
Next door?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a thumb. Like, is
I do
there
have
some
to say,
kind
though,
of
I think part of it, too,
drama
is that
we
I think
don't
you
know
had
about
to have
here?
E3 for industry gaming information, and also it was slower. Can I be honest? Like, it was slower. Think about how long the development was for games in the past and how quick it is now. I mean, it is just faster. And I think that made for EA was more interesting because it was, hey, this is what we're working on. You might go to 2 EAs in a row and hear about something that's still in production. That doesn't happen
the big
anymore.
companies
I mean, it just doesn't.
Well,
We don't have
it
time
seems
for
like
that.
what I've noticed with games too is the big companies are not announcing something unless it's just about ready to be shipped. Like it's going to take
They don't even
longer
talk
than
about it.
a year.
And
or
like
two
Blizzard,
to develop.
they're like, hey, look, it's an alpha, and it looks better than any of those games that you've played that are already released. Question. I know, I love how polished
Go
Blizzard
all
games
of
are.
the
It makes
Blizzard
me
teams.
but it makes me such a spoiled video game player because now when I play something else, I'm like, ugh, that's not pretty.
God, I promise we're not Blizzard whores, really.
No, they're just in our back pocket.
But there's so much
fine.
like,
or we're in their back pocket, whatever. Somebody's in somebody's back pocket.
in general,
It's
from
cool.
other gamers, like Blizzard somehow, no matter how much they have reached out into every other branch, and now all the games we need are there. There's this like, oh, they're just casual. They're easy to play, hard to master is something I love and appreciate. Their graphics being like in WoW, they're so stylized, but it made them last so much longer than like, oh, well, the graphics in this game are so much better and realistic. Well, yeah, but then in a year they look stupid. Where when you've got this stylization, like WoW has, it made it so they could put their resources into actual story and content, and call me casual, it's the kind of game I like. I can have challenges in gameplay instead of does it look real.
No, I agree. You know what? There's so much that can't. I want the money that I spend on video games to be friggin' worth it. Period.
Absolutely.
Like, I only have so much money. I want it to be good. And a lot of times, I end up sticking with the gaming companies that I know are going to give me quality games. Period. Because I only have so much money. And I'm going to want to get the most bang for my buck. And you know what? I usually don't get it from a lot of the studios that are out there, but the good thing is I know is that no matter what Blizzard puts out, it's going to have, again, I'm going back to how much I love Blizzard, but I know that it's going to have a good story. I know it's going to have characters that I'm going to fall in love with and want to know more about. Oh my gosh, everything. Like, I read the books about the lore in a video game. I mean, come on. Like, I think that right there just explains how much you care about these characters. And like, I go back and I watch the cartoons and the bits that they do leading up to like Warlords of Draenor, because that stuff is so good. But that being said, I have to say, just because I know we don't have a lot of time to go over everything that was at E3, Zelda Breath of the Wild, oh my god, that has the potential to be good, and an example of a studio that I trust, a product that has always been good before, so I'm really excited.
Yes. I was watching trailers of it. I was getting input from other people. It seems like a really great combination of things you liked in other Zelda and didn't like in other Zelda. It seems the input I'm getting is that the open world thing can be really important but I have a little concerned about Breath of the Wild in not having clear objectives. I didn't see a lot of examples of that, and I'm worried that it might fail people that want that.
Yeah, so
Yeah, everybody wants to
are going
sandbox.
open world now too. It's interesting. Like that's everybody's open world
Yeah.
now. I love that.
It'll be more like a Dark Souls.
Yeah, I do hate if I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Is that what you mean? Because sometimes that does drive me crazy. Like, where am I going next? Like, that's always a thing. No, I agree. That could be nerve-wracking for sure.
And I like my crafting. For God's sake, I do archaeology. Wow. I mean...
That wasn't there when I played.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Oh,
That's
no.
right. I collect
Lots of
battle
people
packs,
think it's
so
stupid.
Let's be honest.
But it's also Zelda Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda that's going to be coming out, seems to have a survival aspect to it. Like, it actually incorporates your crafting and gathering into having to be able to survive to get to...
I'll be spending my money on it. I can
get
tell
to
you
what?
that.
I don't know. They didn't.
I'll be spending my money on it. That's a thing. Like, I know. I'm like,
So
take my money.
games that I want to spend money on.
I'll be buying it. Same thing with Pokemon Sun and Moon. Yep, take my money, please. There it is.
So who plays Gears of War?
I did.
I did not.
I really liked them.
My eldest plays and was telling me all kinds of epic battle stories about it today, so that must...
Oh, sure. Yeah. And the characters are... What I really liked about Gears of War, the characters are really memorable, and you actually care about them. It's not just another shooter. And it introduced different aspects, like being able to hide behind objects. Sounds kind of dumb, but in the video game world, little improvements like that make a game unique versus something else. But the one thing that I saw about Gears of War 4 and Dead Rising 4, since those are Xbox titles, they're Microsoft Xbox titles, Microsoft is now introducing a Play Anywhere initiative where if you buy Gears of War, I know, this is the craziest thing. If you buy a copy on the Xbox One, you can download a free copy to Windows 10. Just because.
Which is awesome, because I wouldn't be in the problem I'm in right now, which is where, well, I will have the problem when I own a console again, but when I did have an Xbox One and my PC, I was like, okay, am I buying Overwatch? I mean, I want to play on my PC, but yet my brothers are going to be playing on Xbox. I want to play with them.
Well, yeah, you just bought several copies of Overwatch.
I had to buy both. So I do like that initiative. I like that idea, and I hope that other studios start to pick up on the same thing, and game makers decide that that's the way to go.
Yeah, there are a lot out there, but I can't afford that.
That would make me extremely happy. I mean, let's be honest. How many people do we know that own multiple consoles?
Well,
that's the thing.
I mean, we have
I do like
the Wii,
idea of having both.
And then we got the Wii U, and our console decisions were based on family play and group play, because we were raising kids. And Nintendo has a lot better features in games, the Pokemon games, the Mario games, that we could do that together.
Oh, sorry.
So that's how we always made that console decision. We only recently, Christmas time, bought the Xbox, and we made that decision because we had cable cut, and it gave us the DVR, and we could just, plug our internet into it and use the TV, and I'm regretting it in so many ways. I can't believe I let my husband talk me into it, because PlayStation, for games that have story and gameplay and better integration, whatever, but I'm not going to have three consoles. My God, we hardly use what we have.
I loved the Xbox One. I know, but I am always saddened because there's always more exclusive content for the Final Fantasy games on the PlayStation. So that was the only thing that made me sad about going the Xbox One route. It's so tough.
Yeah, well, that's what we did, and that's what we got, and now there's not much for it, and what are we going to do? The Play Anywhere actually just made me think of all those Time Warner commercials I see. That's something Time Warner as a provider does give you, and they have been promoting it for a while. Like, you can be watching a show on your iPad and then pause it and go watch it on your TV, and then pause it and go watch it on your console, and then pause it and go watch it on your phone. And all these, like, games doing that, that's what it made me think of, because that's not how I play games, but it's something I have gotten used to on TV, whether it was when I didn't have cable and I used the Roku,
And having it wherever you want.
or with Time Warner. Like, this is something that
I just like the idea of not
media-wise
having to buy
I've
more than
gotten
one
used
copy.
to, just
Like, that's nice.
using
Like, I have
different
limited
devices.
money. Please make it
I
easier
understand
for me
with
to give you
gaming
my money.
it's a little different. So there's the question. But there's the question. We talked about before the difference between playing a game on a PC and then playing it on a console, and those different player pools and the actual twitch factor according to the device. When you switch,
Yeah, I think so.
do you go into a different pool of gamers? Like, can I seriously
Play
be
with the same
playing
people?
on the Xbox and then go
I don't think
on
so,
my
because
PC and
that's the
just
thing. Yeah,
wipe
that's
the
the thing. Is
crap out of everybody on
cross-platform. What they don't
Overwatch?
realize is you can't really do that because of the fact the gameplay is so different between the PC and the console. Like there's auto, what's the word I'm thinking of? Or auto targeting on the console that doesn't exist
Auto
on the
asphyxiation?
PC because that's what it is. It's auto asphyxiation that's on the console. It's like auto targeting that's on the console that's not there on the PC. So it's stuff like that makes it so you can't go like full cross-platform. But yeah, I think the
So it's
idea
just
though of
sharing
not having to buy more
friends,
than one is
right?
nice. Well,
And sharing, you bought it
I
and you
think about
get
it
it
this
on
way.
all of them, but
Sometimes,
your
but I look
pool
at it this way.
of
Like I want to play. My brothers play on console. My little brothers all play on Xbox. They all play on console. They think I'm weird. They don't understand why I play every game I play on the video game on the computers, because they didn't grow up in the same generation as me. They're like 10, 12, and 13 and a half years younger than me. They don't get it, which is fine. But like I do want to go and play that with them sometimes. So if I could hop on and play a game with them, and then other times hop on my PC, but not have to have bought both copies. Understand I'll be with different player pools each time. I'm fine with that, as long as I don't have to spend twice as much money, which is how frustrating it is right now, because you have to buy a copy
my
for
question,
where you want to play it.
You answered
Like
it
Fallout 4, that was a big one.
You get the game across platform, but your pool is different depending where you play.
I believe so. I don't know 100%, but that would make the most sense to me.
I hope so.
I agree.
Because that's the only thing that will not
because like Fallout
make
4,
everything 100 times
I
worse.
bought it on Xbox One, but I had the real big debate because I wanted to have it on PC too, but I couldn't afford to buy 2 copies of a game. It's insane. Games are already expensive.
Now, Battlefield 1 isn't something I would play, but I found it interesting. They're taking a different tack here. It seems to be influenced by, there are so many games for a while that are war, and another war, and with World War I and World War II, and post-apocalyptic war, and so now Battlefield 1 has apparently gone to, it's set in World War I, and you have zeppelins and horses. It seems almost a little steampunky to me. I've never been interested in this game, and that looks neat. It to me, actually, looking at trailers, seemed like, it's the Star Wars game out now where you can, like, Battlefront, and you can, like, jump on, you can use droids, or you can jump on a spaceship, or it had that kind of dynamic, except
I think it'll be interesting. I
it
might
had
check
vehicles
it out, actually.
that were retro.
I did enjoy Red Dead Redemption, aka Grand Theft Auto on a horse. So I might enjoy this one. Maybe.
I mean, they were talking about like science. I mean, and then Call of Duty did the same thing. Went, all right, it can only be the same dudes in a battle so many times. So now they went to space. And there's PvP stuff where you get out of your ship and are out in zero gravity dealing with shit.
Totally. Oh, by the way, so Loon had to go to work. So we recorded a little bit late. So if you don't hear her anymore, it's not because we ate her. It's not because she died. It's because she went to work. But we're gonna finish out.
We're talking too much. I'm sorry. Oh my god, this episode is so long.
Talking.
I don't even know.
We have so much talking today. It is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think that we have maybe so much to say. Maybe we should do a second episode on E3 if there's still things here that we want to talk about, or maybe pick up.
I don't know that.
Well, we could talk.
With the time of when it's going to come out, we can do that.
We'll talk, but I have so many things I could say. It's so bad. There's so much stuff like we did. Oh my gosh, like the console things that I'm definitely talking about next time. So
okay.
Spoilers next time. Jen will talk about the console revamps. Quote question mark. Who knows how you define that? For sure. But I think we did kind of go into some epic detail about E3.
Hit on the last few games.
It's exciting because I'm such a video game nerd and I could geek out
on
about
E3 and then we will move the console specific stuff.
And I can talk
we'll
about
that in the next
another
one because
time.
that's like
and
that
virtual
is
reality
a whole other conversation.
And virtual reality. So we'll talk about that another time too.
Right.
Those are definitely things that we could spend an entire
and where
episode
consoles
talking
are
about.
going and what VR is doing can definitely fill a whole section of topics. So let's just hit on these last few
definitely games of note that
announced.
I think should be mentioned. So definitely the Resident Evil VR. Oh my gosh. And then of course the Final Fantasy. But the new Resident Evil looks awesome. I am really excited about it. I've always loved Resident Evil games, and they're just really taking a really, really immersive feel to this. It's really dark, like that you can always expect from a Resident Evil game, and
I think it's a good game to do it with.
Like that. Oh yeah, just because it was always terrifying. Like I never played Resident Evil games by myself. Number one, number two,
I never played them.
You cared about your bullets. Oh,
I watched my kids.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I had friends that would hang out with me while I would play Resident Evil, and they would watch me play, so I didn't have to be alone because it's so good. It just always was such an immersive game already, so it totally makes sense. I am interested to see kind of how things shake out with a new Final Fantasy game. I'm excited about it. I want to play it, but I don't have a platform to play it on right now. Meaning I don't have a console,
I have a
so
friend
I will
looking
have to
to get
decide.
rid of
I may
mine,
end up picking up a console just so I can play.
I was interested
in
sports games. We were kind of like,
but
wait,
yeah,
what? Sports and games, but I was interested to see about the new FIFA soccer that it's got story mode. Like it's part of the game. You go through like what it's like to be a pro player, and you're dealing with like all the shit you actually have to do as a professional athlete along with the gaming.
Though.
And I thought, well, that's an interesting tack. Like
I always enjoyed the FIFA
great.
games. They were actually one of the more fun sports games to play. I actually had fun with Madden 2 back in the day.
It's the first time I've been
some of the sports games are actually kind of fun. But the FIFA games are usually pretty good for gameplay. But I thought this had kind of a reality TV show flair
other
to
than,
it, doing kind of
sports, which
behind
used to
the
be really in
scenes
sports,
with
is
professional sports.
I had tabletop, the hockey things with and foosball type flicking the players around. Like, oh my God, I love that shit.
Oh, yeah. No, and so what's interesting too is that these are games that they come out every year, but I think it's interesting as kind of like after year, I'm like, okay, what's new this year? With that, it's interesting to have something different.
Yeah,
so
another thing I want to bring up was
really big shift
Lego.
in what they're doing. So
oh my God,
that's neat. It might be worth checking out.
Well, yeah, and Dimensions.
Yes. This is the Star Wars,
it's
right?
almost like they've taken that technology with Skylanders, which was designed to be cross-platform in a lot of ways to begin with. And now there's like you can build your Lego thing and put it on the base like you did with Skylanders and put it in the Lego game. And the Lego games are cool. I'm sorry. I have a shameful admission. The only video game I've ever finished in my entire life was the Lego Harry Potter.
The Lego games are fun. I think they're really entertaining. I always thought it was so dumb. I was like, these are so dumb, and then I played one and I was like, oh my God, these are so much fun.
Oh my God. Like the mixing of problem solving.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Puzzle game.
That's why I loved Puzzle Quest.
Blowing shit up, but like
Puzzle Quest was
parts.
like RPG meets puzzle game. What? Like it was really fun because of that, and yeah.
And this Lego Dimensions, they
involved in my games.
I'll admit, it's gonna win in targeting me because they have specifically incorporated stuff like Ghostbuster Legos and like the stuff that we remember, and you can build those characters and then like stick them in the Lego video game your kids playing and play together. So I'm really excited that's happening. Like, that's way better than Skylanders. You can like build your shit and it's gonna know what it is and go in.
No, I think it's gonna be good. And new
So
South
I'm
Park,
excited
I
about
have
that.
to shout out to the new South Park. That's gonna be fun. Also, I saw a promotion that if you like pre-order it like right now or something, you actually get Stick of Truth for free. Stick of Truth was awesome, so look for that. I think it was through the GameStop promotion that I saw that on. I'll have to try to track it down and put it in the show notes, but I think I saw.
Oh God, don't tell my husband. God. Like, I don't even have the other Stick of Truth game, but he does, and he bought it for the bonuses on Steam when it came out.
Oh, man. All right, so I think that's, like, the big hits for sure or the big things that I think were showcased at E3 that I definitely
but we're going to move this Indie Cave stuff, because I was, like, super psyched about the weird...
Yeah, we can talk about
it was all indie... Like, actually indie... Yeah, the clapping game,
so many
like...
And
we did that when we were kids, like clap, 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 sing, like that you can do with your iPad. Stuff like USC cinematic team stuff they come up with, like at E3 this year, and I think it calls to what you're talking about, where it was not just industry. It was like they had this weird little cave, and they called it a cave, of nerds with their pet projects, and they were so not polished. And I saw a program where you got to see some of this weird little shit people were just coming up with.
Yeah, there's some other good stuff
that
too, so I'll have to share that. I
So
should put some of this on our website too. I'm going to try to start putting a little bit more content on our website for the things that we don't always have time to talk about, but we want to share, like things we love or we're excited about. So start peeking at our website.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because there's going to be a little
Maybe we
more
should
of that
have a
on there.
little.
Because there was a demo.
We'll
that I
talk
watched
about that
was
later,
super
but
fun. A little.
in general,
little newsreel. I agree.
make a page.
Definitely do something.
Make a page before this goes up
Yes,
with
more stuff.
shit we recommend.
Exactly. Oh gosh.
Because we ain't got time to tell you about it all.
I mean, I wish I did. I could talk about it forever.
So what are you most looking forward to? And I'm going to go ahead and say, because Chris had to go, she's looking forward to the new season of Hearthstone. Starts.
2. I only know because
how many days we have left?
I have 2 days left with sales.
2 days. All right. Says she's going to push hard. 96 more wins to get Golden Shaman. Golden Shaman is her next goal.
So if you win 500 wins, if you get 500 wins with a class in Hearthstone, you get the golden version of that hero. So she has 96 more for a Golden Shaman, and I think this might be her last one. I don't know how many she has left. She's been really pushing, so that's really exciting.
Damn.
It's intense.
I don't have any.
So I'm looking forward to the next season of Game of Thrones.
None.
No, I'm just kidding. Seriously though, it's time to start focusing on the fact that Legion is coming out soon, which means I need to go back into World of Warcraft. I need to finish up everything I need to finish with Warlords of Draenor. I need to make sure I got all my battle pets collected from all the doohickeys and what have yous, so that I can be fully prepared and ready. I need to make sure that my inventory is clear. I'm doing all of the new expansion preparation. I've become a pro at this, so that is what I'm embarking on, is getting back into WoW, making sure that I've got all that cleaned up and ready for the new X pack.
I want to play with you.
Yeah, I gotta get a moose though.
Out.
That's the other thing I have to do.
I didn't
get a moose yet. I know you did. I gotta get the moose.
We could get you the moose.
Yeah, see, we're gonna get
we'll
me the
get
moose.
that figured out.
But yeah, what are you looking forward to? What actually playing video games this week?
Yeah, that would be nice. Please.
This week will be a video game.
I swear, I'm going to be like a horrible, neglectful mother, except for saying, you need to play this game with me right now.
Oh, gosh, your boys have it so rough.
Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Like, do the dishes. I am in a match. I'll get banned if I leave.
That makes sense.
Okay,
My poor brother used to play with me, and he'd be like, Mom's calling me. And I was like, tell her you're in a match. You can't leave. It's a 5-man. We need you. And he's like,
I mean, at least I get that, but still.
So yeah, I'm going to be like that cool parent.
He
that's
whines
like,
about not wanting to play my casual game.
After your match is done.
We got to start to have a system. But yeah, I really
I
want to
know.
play this week. Just at some point. I want to go to the gym.
And
I want
relax.
to play video games. I don't want
That sounds like a good
to do
plan,
anything else. Other than
Oh, yeah, for
grilling.
sure.
Lots of grilling. It's summer.
Yeah, we're having monsoon and 1,000,000-degree weather here. Gotta love it. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I grill if I had a grill. But it rains too much here, so no grill. But that's okay. I support grilling. I just want to keep saying grill.
Good, because
on
we
our
have to
podcast,
get
'cause it makes me
Louis
feel like
on
I'm being
here.
speaky, to talk about butchering.
Yes.
And then we can have Chris on to talk about grilling.
Yes.
Excited.
We have a grill geek and a butcher.
I guess that brings me perfectly into
and
my...
That's going to happen.
Before we wrap things up. Patreon. We love you, patrons of the Patreon. I don't have any new patrons to announce, sad face. But you can support us if you enjoy listening to us. Throw us a couple so we can keep doing what we're doing at patreon.com/grills. That's GRILLS. And I mentioned that because King Louis is one of our royal court over there. He is a supporter. He is the king indeed. So thank you to all of our patrons.
He's
Remember,
the king.
we always appreciate your feedback, so please do share it. And also, just a contest, we still have codes to give away for our next few listeners that sign up on Patreon to become our patrons. So for a list of the game codes that are available, you can check out geekgrills.com. And that does remind me, we did have a 5-star review on iTunes, which is super exciting. So from Cyrenex, despite some technical hiccups, the Geek Grills discussion is great to listen to. I really enjoyed the topics they've chosen so far, and they work well together sometimes. I look forward to listening to them as they go. I'm only kidding. That was a joke, everybody. That was a joke. But yes, thank you so much. We love the 5-star reviews. They really help us on iTunes so that we can keep getting more listeners, so we can have more conversations
technical hiccups
and what have you. Anymore. That's right. We figured them all out.
We're doing good.
We've been doing great. Except for my mic getting attacked by a ghost this evening.
Oh, yeah,
but for the most part, we've
been
doing great.
But still,
not as bad as it was the first 3 episodes.
There was only one episode where it was like, holy crap.
That's okay.
So
we learned.
We're good.
We learned it, and we improved. Hooray.
Well, you know, we're smart because we're geeks, so we win. Well, and
we have supportive people like Dills that help us figure things out.
Dills is magic. We love the Dills. Boy. Okay, so on the interwebs, you can find me, Amber, at 9 of 12. You can find Lunescence / Chris, who has the misfortune of working overnight shift. So painful, so dedicated. She actually does our editing. It's hard work. We love her. You can find her at Chris Van Pelt, Chris with a K, on Twitter, and tell her thank you for supporting the entire project.
Oh, and I'm at The Jen Says on Twitter, and I'm streaming .tv/TheJenPlays. I did actually stream. I streamed it. I did do a stream of part of the Popper tournament, but
you streamed?
Yeah. So I'm actually trying to get my streaming going in more consistently. I'm going to create a stream schedule. So I'm this close, and if you could see me, and this wasn't an audio program, you would see I was putting my fingers very close together, that I am this close to identifying exactly what that schedule will look like. So that is coming soon. Soon.
It's set up, I just don't.
Yep.
There's like life and crap.
We're going to get you there, hon. I get that.
So anyway, thanks so much for listening, everyone. And good game.
Good game.
Video Games, a poem by Amber Bowen on HelloPoetry.com. Did you need something? Sorry, I'm raiding, and I have plans with a friend to do some high-rank arenas later. I can't right now, or give me a moment. And that moment turns into 10, then 20, perhaps an hour that lasts a day. It's a horrible habit at times, but I don't regret where I spend my life, twisted into the net, immersed in this video game, like an unhealthy addiction. Only it's not. It's my choice. You do your thing as I hide behind this screen, enjoying my time, interacting with people over great distances whom I call friends. They don't judge the way those around me do, believe it or not. Just don't be fooled by those creeps out there, but I promise, good people exist over the net, you just have to find them.
Alright. 6. Why do I keep starting at 6? What is that about? It's so stupid.
It's the number of the beast. That's the problem.
No. Apparently, you are the Antichrist.
Evil number.
Oh,
Yeah.
that D&D, that devil game, that LARPing.
Those devil games.
I
All
have
right,
2
5,
6s on my license plate.
4, 3, 2, 1.